And we are live. Hello, everybody. Good night, all 13 of you, and all the 5 people who gave thumbs up. Welcome to the CM Kozeman live stream again. As we curl up for a cozy night, very close to the weekend. I hope you're all doing fine. And if you're on the replay gang, I hope you're all doing fine too. Hello, everybody. Hello, Entel Yağmur. Hello, Mehmet. Hello, Lucas Evangard. Hello, Emirhan. Hello, Selin Uygun. Hello, Slepak. And many, many others. Well, I hope you're doing all right. Last time I was live, I was sick in the early stages of a horrible, horrible virutic disease. I was stricken by a virus. Nick Nitowski says, hello from Poland. And 22 Karat says, hello, my Pasha. Size de selamlar. I had a horrible virutic cold. It started with a crown headache and a lack of energy and a lack of concentration. And if you remember, I said illness is a house guest and it must be accommodated. So I had to accommodate him for over a week. I had sleepless nights, crown headaches, every joint in my body aching, but I persevered. Today is my first fully hale day. I'm medicated with ibuprofen and aspirin, but whatever. What are we curating, says Gnome Child. And Slepak says hello to fellow Paul Nitnitowski. And Selen Uygun says, get well soon. Well, I'm about to get much better as soon as I grab some, well, snacks and drinks for the night. I've also been having commissions. That is to say, I'm illustrating concepts sent to me by other people, so I was busy on that. So here's one of the recent commissions I drew. This is the original drawing with ink, and a lot of major corrections needed to be made. It looks like this. It's supposed to be a futuristic nanotechnological goddess tech character in the guise of a like female figure from one of Robert Reed's stories. So I spent a good day drawing this. And Slepak, you commissioned me something too that is also on my docket. Between commissions, family time, and the holidays, I won't be able to stream live for, I think, 2 or 3 weeks. So this is your chance to say anything. But I hope you're all doing well. I'm going to just leave you face to face with this goddess character. And just go grab my stuff. In the meantime, please call everybody you know. Send them my link on Instagram. I figured out how to send stories on Instagram. And if you don't know the deep lore, I actually don't use a smartphone. I use Instagram from my computer. Well, I just figured out a way to send stories from Instagram through the computer. So that was fun. And it's drawing many, many people in. It's really boosting my audience. Wow. So I like that. I'm kind of late. What's her name? This character has, I don't know. I didn't read the story. It's a futuristic nanotechnological device imitating a woman. Like one of the passages says, She had a body like a Mandelbrot fractal, and she had arms growing out of every part. So this is how I drew it. And Tal Yağmur says, hello, I just came from the Instagram story. Okay, so they work. So did Kuro Minami and Slepak. This is actually a benevolent character. There's nothing evil about this in the story. So anyways, whatever. You just feast your eyes on the lady, and I'll be right back, okay? Call your friends, and if you got any questions, ask them. One of these days, I'm going to learn how to, okay, this is something I want you to answer. I want to learn how to take calls while live streaming. I want to learn how to take calls while live streaming. I want to learn how to take calls while live streaming, damn it. So if you know anything about this, let me know, and I'll just go prepare tonight's feast, okay? See you in a bit. All right. I'm back, peoples. Wow, it's really cooking. Wow, these Instagram stories are great. Who'd have think? All the cool kids are on Instagram these days, I guess. Well, teaches me for not using a smartphone. Anyways, everybody's in the house. Reasonable crash out. Hello from America, says Mobis. I recently found out about the Frutiger Aero aesthetic, says Nitowski. That's how I imagined the future as a kid. Yes, it's that blue green, basically this aesthetic, huh? Like fish swimming out of computer screens and like the globe. Back when the internet was limited to a privileged audience. So this kind of stuff. Honestly, good for you. Smartphones rot your brain, says Gnome Child. Exactly. That's exactly why I never started them. And I plan to resist them as long as I can. Lord Grunwalder says, why does everyone say get well soon? Because I was ill. But it's nothing serious, just a virus. Okay, apparently I can set up OBS or StreamYard to take calls. I'll look into it. Thank you. I'm pretty sure making international calls is expensive. Probably there's a way you can like call online, or I don't know how that works. I think he's live streaming from his phone. No, I'm not live streaming from my phone. I'm live streaming from a laptop. Arcane Electric says, Jevdet, what are you doing? I was getting these amazing foodstuffs, which I'm about to share with you. Violent Fish says, hi, hello, old-time friend. Selen Uygun says, are you familiar with H.R. Giger's work? Have you gotten any inspiration from him? Yes. One of my childhood inspirations, actually. Was Giger's Necronomicon, his great big artwork. And I am happy to say I have a signed edition. One of my treasures. So that's that. Why can't we donate to you, says Emirhan Cesur. Well, I'm not monetizing this channel. Well, simply because of tax reasons, to be honest. What's the worst book you had the pleasure to read? I didn't meet Giger in person, but I got this signed edition somehow. What's the worst book that I read? I don't know, maybe one of the maths textbooks in high school. There are a lot of bad books, but even those have something interesting to show. Like there was a book called Phallic Worship. It was this book, wait. So it's this book. Phallic worship, a history of sex and sexual rights. On paper, it's a very interesting topic, don't you think? It seems like, all these ancient religions had this like fertility element in them and stuff like that. But when you read it, literally, the author thinks that every case where you see a penis on an object that's older than 100 years old is connected to a giant secret network of religions. Christianity is a secret sex cult, so is Judaism, so is the last religion, so is Hinduism, Buddhism, so are the Stone Age religions. They're all part of one big dick worship cult, apparently, which is a horrible book. And it's like such a cheap claim to make. But even this awful book, and it's really badly written too. But even this awful book had the mention of something called an alopile, which was this weird well, it was called Jack of Hilton, sorry. I'll tell you what these are now. Let me find a big image. Let me find a proper image. Wait. So in that book, which was otherwise crap, I found mention of this statue called Jack of Hilton. And it's from Hilton County in 1600s England. They had these bronze statues which were hollow inside, and these things are very old. They're probably from like the 500s, 600s, like they're very old. They're probably toys built for nobles, and nobody knows much about them. But they fill them with statues and they throw them into the fire, these little men, okay? And as they boil, they start whistling, and like the penis also starts ejaculating boiling water. And there's a horrible whistling sound, and it just like is an amusing toy. Toys or toys, asks Flows. Oh, no, like a proper toy. Imagine it's the year, I don't know, 700, and you're by the fire, you're like a local lord or a thrall or I don't know, somebody important. So you're sitting by the fire because you need to get warm with your man and your like court, and you're bored. You say, okay, bring out the little guy, throw him on the fire, and this thing starts. Anyway, I heard mention of this toy in the bad book about sexual religion, supposedly. And this actually took me down a rabbit hole. And in fact, if you go to my channel, if you go to the rest of this channel, there's a big documentary video about that. So you can go and watch this, And for that reason, I will say that there are probably no, like there are lots of bad books, but there are no like worst books. Even a bad book, I think, has like some interesting stuff they can teach you. But of course, there's like hundreds and hundreds of books that you're better off not reading. Yeah, like you go to my channel, find this video. It's good for you. If you're itching to donate to me, you can go to my Patreon, by the way. And if you're already there, there's a $1 tier and there's a $3 tier. So if you're feeling generous, you could go from 1 to 3 and you could be a member. And at the end of every video, all my members get a shout out. Plus, if you're a big motherfucking dono, you get a shout out in the beginning of the shows. Like I said, this video has been produced thanks to such and such. I know a bad book, but I will go to the Turkish prison if I tell its name, says Kuro Minami. Even those books can be seen as examples of how rulers, corrupt or otherwise, try to bolster their legitimacy by writing a book. Because if you're a man with a book, you're like double important. Okay, lots of comments. 54 people. Wow. Will you do an All Tomorrow's USA book live stream launch? Actually, yes, because maybe not a live stream because I'll be very busy around those dates, but I'll probably record a video and share it with you all. But in the 16th of December, so 5 days from now, it's going to come out in the USA and you'll be able to buy it from Amazon.com. I'm trying to share the page. Okay, here it is. So it will be on Amazon in the United States. It will also be in like actual bookshops and like I think even Walmart will stock it, to be honest. Yet even Walmart is going to have it. Like you can actually go to a goddamn Walmart and pick up my book, which is crazy because let me share some numbers with you. In the United States, we sold a lot of copies in like the upper 4-digit number, which is an enormous number for a book that's coming out for the first time. Now they want to order probably the same amount. Already our initial print run was 18,000 copies, which is a crack number. It's an awesome number. Will it be in Germany? Yes, actually. What was that bookshop in Germany? Wait. See? Wait, I'm going to share with you. In Thalia, which is a really nice German bookseller. Boom! Erscheint am 16/12/2025. Okay? Aryan Kumar says, will this be in India? Probably, but there's a special... It hasn't reached that market yet. Is the All Tomorrow's Redux real, says Taploon. Yes, it's as real as this table. And I'm writing it. With the advent of AI technology, says Arcane Electric, will you ever think you'll make All Tomorrows into an animated movie independently? Actually, sorry, but no, never. First, I will be very happy if a big studio picks up the movie rights for All Tomorrows. Then I can retire. Oh, then there will be science. As for AI only creates establishing shots, and it's just pap. There's as many AI movies as there are people watching or using the program. So it lacks legitimacy, even if you ignore the artistic qualms, which I don't. But even if it was like a perfectly magically kosher technology to use, everybody can make their movie. Who are you going to show it to? You're still going to need distribution. You're still going to need like an agency that will tell the public that, this thing is different from all the other things you can make and watch. Plus, with all due respect, I think AI for animation is a bit of a cheat, don't you think? If not a movie, what kind of other media could you imagine would fit all tomorrow? Says Flow Zone. Lykin says they're gonna pre-order. Okay, in Germany, great. Indonesian guy says, commenting from an archipelago down south, aka Indonesia. That's a mighty country, mightiest country. That's like a secret. In the Pacific, it's one of the great powers actually now. And wonderful place. It's some place I wish to travel one day. Also a very based country with really nice people. You can try ordering directly from Wilton Square, the publisher. So you need to go to the Wilton Square website and see if they ship to Indonesia. Or you can find an international bookshop in your city. You can get them to order it from the UK or wherever. Love you and your work, brother, says Aryan Kumar. Thank you. I love you too. In the meantime, let's look at all the snacks. Let's look at all the pap I brought in to eat. Wait. Just look at this pap. Got my coffee, lots of milk. Fancy mug. It was gifted to me by students of the Yıldız Technical University game development team. And it shows an Alexandrine parakeet, which is both a native bird and also a mascot of that club. So I love this. But yeah, this engine doesn't run on fumes. I need some biscreme. Bird, says Gnome's Child. Yes, that's a bird. Somebody with the name Gözde Kocaoğlu says, look, for once, there's people from all over the goddamn planet here. Be less parochial, okay? Be a mind with horizons, and please type in English. There's people from Indonesia, India, they're all typing in English. Why are you so goddamn special? Anyways, in this parochial mind, this person tells me, don't slurp, and are you doing a mukbang? Yeah, maybe. I have misphonia, says. Well, in that case, you might also have a volume reduction button. Look, I don't freak out much at people, but come on. And if you watch the rest of my channel, actually, the slurps and the eating sounds kind of like my trademark. So yeah. Will you ever come to the Middle East Technical University in Ankara? Asks Ramil. Things are in motion. Let's see. Why did you freak out? It was like a quantum freak out, okay? Look, sorry if I upset you. But legitimately, I am having an influx of Turkish fans now. Like this channel, I have other channels where I talk with Turkish creators in the Turkish language. That's perfectly okay. But this channel, I want it to remain international. So normally you're kind. I known you. Okay, maybe I had sugar, low blood sugar, and if I upset you, I'm sorry. Okay. Hope someday I'll have a chance to get my book signed to you when I visit Turkey again. Says like in one. Thank you. Will all tomorrows be in bookshops in Poland? Probably because we are having pan-European distribution. What a nice evening, says Berhat Gitar. Thank you so much. Look at my turtle's feast. It's like the fruit you would give a little turtle, all chopped up into bits. Because if I try to like tear a fruit apart in live stream, it's going to splatter all over the place. I don't like that. Guys, why can't all tomorrows just be one book? Not everything needs to be MCU. That's a nice comment and something I agree with. I don't know. I mean, I'm not planning to expand it beyond All Tomorrow's Redux, which is already going to be an enormous expansion. But I don't know, like movies and computer games, to be honest, I would only consider them if somebody paid me and my publisher, Wilton Square, a substantial licensing fee. And then I would be on board. Other than that, I don't personally have plans to animate them. A lot of people have asked me this, but I'm actually not a great sequential artist. I'm good at stories and character design, but I'm not good at like drawing the same character over and over or animating them. It's just not a power or a skill that I have. Sub Kosaman says Victorian, the victorious. Big fan of yours here. Thank you so much. 52 Shark says, what inspired your art in All Tomorrows? I answered this question many times. Go elsewhere in my channel and watch the videos. There's lots of Q&A videos where I answer this question. When can I join you urbexing and lifting stones to find bugs? Says Demir Khan. I don't know. These expeditions, he's talking probably about the city tour videos I do with a fellow Turkish creator, Akın Andır'ın at the Cep Hikayeleri YouTube channel, okay? And with him, we make videos like this. We explore Istanbul neighborhood by neighborhood, and we explore abandoned buildings, or I explain little details in like urban vernacular architecture, such as like old doors or weird buildings or even like strange pavement stones. And then occasionally we lift stones and find bugs. And like in this video, we found a mummified kitten, and that's what I'm holding here. So these videos I film only with this guy, and many people have asked to come along, but I'm hesitant for a couple of reasons. One is privacy. Other is that the production happens very spontaneously. Like the other guy, my friend, has a camera. This is his YouTube channel, by the way. We just go to a neighborhood in a part of Istanbul we don't occasionally visit. We walk around, and it just happens like between him and I. Says, shall we go this way, that way? If there's like 5 people, I would feel like a tour guide. and I would be performing for them and not the camera. And that would compromise the quality of the video. If in the future I'm maybe strapped for cash, I can make these trips in a comparable way to guided tours. I don't know, charge $100, spend a day with me. That's a good retirement plan, don't you think? 46 people, goddamn, these are numbers I could only dream of. Thank you. Let's get a roll call. Where are everybody from? Where is everybody from? Where is everybody from? Where is everybody from? Arcane Electric is from Canada. Tell me where you're from. So we're having a readout. Violent Fish is from the US. '52 Shark is from Deutschland. Der Bundesrepublik von Deutschland. Redmoor from Portugal. Luxaterna from Lithuania. Flowzone from Germany. Pavle Pesik from Serbia. Oh, good friend. Hello. Kurominami from Adana, one of the most based cities in Turkey. Ian Harris is from Mizora. Sung Sang is from Istanbul. Onur Can Gündoğdu is from Hasanpaşa. El Turco is from, surprisingly, Turkey. Another Hasanpaşa resident, 22 Karat. Nick Nitowski from Poland. Gnome's Child is from upstate New York. Gilgamesh from Izmir. Enes from Berlin. Demirkan from Antalya. Victorian from Bolu. El Manuel is from Magnesia, which was the ancient city of Magnesia in western Turkey. Also a very based city. We got a strong Turkish contingent tonight. Lykin is from Kocaeli, Izmit. Lovely. El Turco is from Çanakkale, the Dardanelles Strait. What a nice crowd. I'm thankful to you all for joining. Kurti Boy from Bursa. I remember you from the last stream too. All right. Have some more fruit. As my blood sugar returns to normal. Great question from 52 Shark. How do you create a good villain that people will hate because of his evil deeds? El Manuelma is from Vilgax. Oh. Vilgax, France, or does he mean Vilgax for real, for real? Denis Parlar from Germany again. The whole map lighting up. Okay, for real. So, okay, Vilgax is not a town in France. Okay. How do you create a good villain? You look at really terrible people in the real world, but I'm not saying like cool evil people like serial killers or Dahmer or some shit. But like you look at the lives of people you like really hate today, okay, in politics, news, wherever, you look at their lives and see how they became that way. And look, there's like this easy trope. They say, oh, okay, maybe if they were traumatized or they had like a rough upbringing, then they become evil. But there's this weird way in which some in real life too, you probably meet these kinds of people at work or in school. But there's a kind of person who's just like this hyena-like mentality that they're just evil because they can be evil. They can get away with it. They really didn't have any traumas or like some problems that drove them to that way. They just like they see an opening, they keep taking, plugging. That's how they are. It's really incredible. Like I remember like years ago, like one of my parents' friends, like in a dinner table telling he was at a restaurant and there was, I think, a man just in another table, but he looked like he was destitute or like down and downtrodden. So he said to the waiter, like, pay this guy's debt, pay his bill from my account, and also send him a glass of beer on my tab too. So like the waiter goes and like talks to the guy, showing like this guy, you paid, you're okay, pats him in the shoulder, also brings the beer. The other guy just drinks the beer and goes up and fucking leaves. Like that's this kind of like monkey or pig like selfish evil that you sometimes see without reason in people. It's like, I think, like, unless there was something we didn't know there, like, that's like the real psycho, real fucked up psycho. Another way, I remember this from the Lindy Page channel, but apparently there was some research about soldiers in World War I, because believe it or not, like when it comes to actually shooting another person, most soldiers hesitate, and they looked at soldiers who killed like 40 or 50 of the enemy and won medals, and it turned out in most cases that these people were either middle siblings or older siblings. So they had younger people than them they had to take care of. And in a couple of interviews, they specifically said things to the effect of like, I didn't shoot them because I hated the enemy. I shot them because I loved my side. So like, I can really see a story like this. In fact, I had plans to write it, but I mean, it's maybe too political for my strain. But imagine a guy living in a city full of like criminal young men, perhaps of a different ethnicity, or they just came with migration, but they're dealing drugs, they're like knifing people, they're like overall terrible to be around. So one night, this guy is walking with his sister, and a pack of these guys surround them. He ends up killing one, but he doesn't get caught. Then he meets a couple of his friends, and together they form a gang. Maybe they call them the anti-gen gang, like the antibody gang, the white blood cells, or they think they're doing a good deed. So this guy accidentally does this and like figures out a way how to like ambush and kill these yobs. So with a couple of his friends, they start actually like doing this, and like they go into these fights. They knife two yobs, one night. They come there exhilarated. Then they start practicing their art. They like have like, I don't know, DIY body armor under their clothes, or they learn how to make a closed ambush. So one of them scares the yobs and the other one actually does the killing. Like they have lookouts and like they kind of make this work. So they just start killing, cutting throats. Eventually, they end up killing not yobs, but accidentally they catch one like yob looking guy, a young man with his girlfriend. Girl starts screaming, they have to kill her too. So then the like good deed bleeds into like evil. But they see like all the drug gangs avoid them and like whatever. So they recruit more people from the internet, and then they start going into the houses of these yobs in the favelas or wherever they live. And there they actually have like they have to kill all old people, women, so they're not alerted. Meanwhile, maybe the country is experiencing something like a war, so all these things fly under the radar. Maybe there are these nights where missiles fall on the city, so there's a curfew. So these guys go out in the missile night. They watch like the neighborhoods blowing up, but statistically, it's a low chance. 10 of them dressed in like hoodies, black hoodies, knives and shit, just killing jobs. But then it goes into like killing people and massacring houses. And eventually they get caught, but some like higher up military guy says, hold up, you keep doing what you're doing, just don't go into these areas, and in these areas you can do what you do. So like the deep state starts watching over them, so they can keep killing and killing. And like this book would have like awful, almost pornographic details, because I've actually once seen a person getting knifed and murdered, and it's like it's not even dark. There's like weird and obscene parts in it. Like this was in the town of Eskişehir. I may have told this story. My dad and I were staying in a hotel. Two of these yobs, the exact sort, the puffy black coat keko yobs, started fighting with each other. One of them stabbed the other in the legs, like he went like cha cha cha, but like the other guy got stabbed in the legs, but he got cut in the carotid artery, and he just like in 10 seconds he just laid down and bled out. And so like that in that way is like so when somebody gets stabbed, he doesn't just go and like surrender his loot. Like you have to like there has to be a person to hold them. Maybe you need like special kind of like long knife or like some shield in your arm. So like there's going to be one guy who's going to like get them to attack, then the two of you come out, one of you is going to hold the yob, and the other one with the spear is going to just like stab him in the neck or in the carotid artery, and they're going to hold him until he bleeds out. And this is maybe like a systematic way you can murder people. So something like this, and there'd be all these scenes where like maybe they corner this really evil shit looking guy, but as he's dying says, come on brother, don't do it, but dies. So they're like traumatized too. In the Second World War, there were cases in the Eastern Front where with Germany, even with the SS battalions, that they were trained to like they were ordered to kill, I don't know, 4,000 Poles or like, I don't know, 800 Jews or whatever, and they would physically get sick. So how do you get over this? Well, in my book, this gang, They find a way. They say, like, as you're killing the gecko, the yob, don't think about him. Think about the woman in your life you must protect, your sister, your girlfriend. Then it will be calming because you're doing it for them. Your sister, your girlfriend, your little baby sister, your mother, your pet cat. Because it's either us or them. So that's how I would write like a believable villain story. At the end of the day, these guys turn into like a death squad essentially, and the deep state co-opts them, and they train more people, and the country descends into civil war after this bombardment, whatever which war is. By the way, this is not related to present day affairs. Let me just say that out there. But yeah, and the story ends with this main character, 105 years old, dying, surrounded by his family, his grandchildren, and he's never punished. And that's how I would write this like evil guy villain story. Maybe later in the book, the war ends, the civil war ends, but they still have this skill and they have these like occupational traumas, you know? So like how do you don't stop. You need to keep working. It's just like any other work. You need to keep working, you need to keep killing. So maybe they go off to other countries to train death squads and kill people who had never had anything to do with them. Maybe they actually end up, I don't know, working for their country's enemies or like Genocide Inc. Damn, says Ingram, pure cinema. Anyways, that came out a bit darker than I freaking intended, but yeah. You just put me in cinema right now. I felt really tense. I don't know, like it's a story I'll maybe get to write one day. 60 people watching. This is a world record. Thank you. Okay, any more questions? Violent Fish says, I gotta go, but wish you luck on your stream. I had fun. Thank you so much. Are you going to wait until I finish sending my fan art, says YouTube Joseph. Yes, I will wait. It's okay. Me and my friend are working on a story where the main character is a villain. All right. I mean, there's two ways you can go. Like you could look at a pathologically psychopathic person who's just extremely selfish, or you could look into the stories of people who do awful things for a good cause. Norm's Child says, let's see if we can get the view to 69. Have you heard of the book Ordinary Man, says Dan McClear. No, but your recommendations are always valuable. Reserve Police Battalion 101 and the Final Solution in Poland. Apparently this is in Poland. Very quickly in World War II, 3 groups emerged within the battalion: a core of eager killers, a plurality who carried out their duties without initiative, and a small minority who evaded participation without diminishing the murderous efficiency of the battalion. Exactly the kind of dynamic I'm adding this to my to read list, by the way. Shine Shilium Tefau says, how are we doing today? We're doing great. We got coffee, biscuits, and tangerines and shit. Having a lovely stream. I really gotta stop eating my fingers. Look at them. Bad. But this is my good hand. That can also do the Vulcan V. Realism versus fantasy sci-fi elements for world building. What should be the focus to make it interesting, says user RM1. Interesting. Depends on which medium you're using. Are you writing, or are you painting, drawing, or is it for a computer game? Even if you have something fantastic, I say make the rules consistent and ground them in, like, if you have humans in your world, that is, ground them in like communal or social realities you have in every human society. If you have aliens, ground them in those aliens biology, culture. That's more speculative and fun. 52 Shark says, what do you think about people creating their own all tomorrow species and their stories? I love it. I read them on the Reddit. Sometimes I leave a good comment. I really love and support everyone who does that. So thank you. Shine Shilium's name is apparently pronounced Shinshilium. Okay, sorry. Have you read The Metamorphosis of Prime Intellect, says Ingram? No. What is it about? Another project I really desperately want to do, but probably shouldn't, is my contributions on the Hasan Abi internet political dog shocking drama. I want to record a big video about Hasan Abi from a Turkish perspective in English. And it's not going to be an attack or a defense of this person per se, but he has a certain like background and a type which a Western viewer may not necessarily understand. Is Hasan Abi Turkish by ancestry? Yes, his father was bankrolling politicians. His father was an executive for like Sabancı Holding, which is like a big conglomerate that does everything from chemicals to cotton to roads to power to banking. His uncle was a director in Brisa, which is a big tire manufacturing company. The problem isn't him being rich, but just the airs he puts on. It's just like a very human failing. It's also like, I think he was handed like a magic asset, being an American. He really mishandled that, because he could have taken it to a very like great place. So as America fights all these wars and like roughs up the world, there's always been a need for media figures to turn the lens on their enemies in a humanizing way. And in the during the Vietnam War, for example, there was an actress named Jane Fonda who actually filmed interviews with the North Vietnamese that the US were fighting. And she drew a lot of like ire to. They called her a traitor, they called her Hanoi Jane. And yeah. So Hassan could have been somebody like that if he was more careful. He had this interview with this Houthi pirate, but instead of like grounding that interview, he was like, oh, ha, ha, like Luffy, ha ha ha. Or like he's like riffing off of being this like exotic yet accessible man, which is like very attractive to Americans, especially middle class Americans who are white and women. And then he's like riffing, like he has these like smug appearances in New York where he's like, oh, here's what we gotta do to set up socialism, and all the women are like fawning at him. So he let his I don't know, like he missed the mark, you know. He could have been like a genuinely important figure. Good evening to all our favorite micro bullies fanatics, says Usul Cardo. Well, thank you so much. He is the original performative male, says Kurominemi, referring to Hassan Piker. Yes. And this is before like the dog shocking drama and everything. He's actually very articulate. Look, live streaming every day like that, he's got like real stamina. I mean, he's relentless. That's an admirable trait. He kind of squandered that. And I don't know, like, unlike many of his critics, he's not a sexual harasser, though, apparently. Do you know who the Albanian streamer Hazaldin is? No, I don't. 65 people watching. Ege Sözeri says, caught the stream only near the very end. Hope Bugs Bunny. No, we're 1 hour in, but I think I can go for another hour. Hope Bugs Bunny has been like a catchword among viewers of the conspiracy streams we have with Mert. And the name comes from this. Just a second. So there's this famous tune by William Lane called Particles. I'm trying to play it now. Let me know if you can. Can you hear it? Can you hear the song? Confirm. Oh, no. Wait, I'm gonna fix this. Hmm. Hmm. What if I share the stream? Oh, wait. Hmm. Also share tab audio. Okay. Hmm. Can you hear it now? Okay, so this song. So I think 2 years ago, this song was on every goddamn TikTok video where there's some light in the sky and like some UFO or some shit, and like they plastered it over everything, and it's just this like childlike made up lyrics I made for it, which goes as follows. Hop Paksani, hey, hop Paksani, hey. And stuff like this. Bugs Bunny geldi koydular eve net net net ne net ne ne. It can get a lot dirtier. One of these days, I think Matt Günhan and I need to make like an official sing along video. What do you think about the song that was called Phenomenon? I don't know. I don't know that one. I know this music, but 21st century Schizoid Man is my, of course, it's a classic. This Particles thing was like a meme song. Okay, I'm going to take a little bio break. All you Bugs Bunny gangs, Bugs Bunny gangers. Why don't you look at the cookies? Make sure nobody steals them, and I'll be right back. Oh. Apparently, the biscuits I'm eating were meant to be boycotted. Well, I'm sorry. Kozaman, have you ever heard of mother horse eyes? No, what is it? It was a good thing that this live stream came up when I was doing my biology homework. Yes, thank you. Mother horse eyes. Oh, it's a creepy pasta. Apparently, a really well written one, too. And now he's writing like horror stories as Reddit comments. This is insane. Like, I don't have time now to read Mother Horse Eyes in depth, but it's just a sign of the times. Like all tomorrows, this can rise from internet anonymity to become a public sensation. I love that. Do you have any book recommendations on Turkey's native plants and trees? Says Ege Sözeri. There's a couple of local books about Turkish trees and bushes, plus the presidency of the Turkish Republic is sponsoring this giant book called The Illustrated Flora of Turkey. It still hasn't been completed as far as I know, but it looks like this. Resimli Türkiye Florası. I think that's an interesting book you could look at. It actually runs for like over 17 volumes. So it's like a massive encyclopedia. And if you know where to look, you can actually find it as an ebook too. Do you plan on releasing another story-focused book like All Tomorrows? Yes, things are in the works. Oh, 50 people watching. I got some soda, some refill. Ian Harris says, what do you think about the Bewarecast channel, the YouTube channel formerly known as Beware the Coup? I've talking to that guy. He's a great guy. I've never had a bad experience with him. And he really helped popularize the book in its initial stages. So there's that. I don't know what he's up to these days. He's now making more general sci-fi focused content, which is great for him. He's got a really nice voice, like these like Welsh or British voices or Australians. They start like 10 points ahead in the voice acting game. Okay, let me check some messages, by the way, just a second. Are we only talking about books? No, we're talking about a lot of things. Could you make a video of cryptid profiles? They're interesting. I have a lot of cryptid videos. Maybe I could go back to them, and because I got these huge videos about criminal cryptids or movie cryptids or slug cryptids and snail cryptids and frog cryptids and stuff like that. I mean, those are some of my favorite things, by the way, like my most proud creations on YouTube. Each video contains like 40, 30 criminal cryptid cases. And maybe I could like go back to them and individually study them, but they're really good books. Victorian the Victorian says thoughts on Asimov. He's a great writer, but I haven't read as much by him as I should. I mean, I have the Foundation series in my library. I still have to like start reading it. Maybe I will this winter. Haj Medesh, is the hardback All Tomorrows going to have? It already has extra content. It's got like over 50 pages of sketches, the story of how the book was written, the individual behind the scenes looks at species. So yeah. So let me just like show you the criminal cryptids video. It starts with like an exposition of what defines a cryptid and what defines a criminal cryptid. So these are like cryptids that live where people live. They kind of look like human beings and pertain to a real or reported event or an urban legend, but they have a like distinct entity look about themselves. So like one of them is, for example, this character, the Mad Guesser of Mattoon, who appeared in during World War II. Apparently, like this man entered this house and like sprayed anesthetic gas on these women, and the whole town was scared of this Mad Guesser of Mattoon. So much that they even made a toy of him. And there were many cases about this thing, but it was, I think, a case of it was a case of wartime hysteria because this took place in the Second World War. The Mothman prophecies. Yes, the Mothman is in this video actually. Go watch it in this channel. It's got a lot of things. I mean, it's got like the Zodiac killer. I mean, tentatively, only like all serial killers could be cryptids in a way. Then you got the Bjork metamorphosis guy, Ricardo Lopez. And I classified him as a cryptid because like he changes into something beyond human at the end. And like if you know, you know. Plus, there's this guy, the Catman of Greenlock. He's not a criminal. He's just a weird guy in Greenlock, UK, who just hangs around the wharf, acting like a gimp. So a lot of stuff like this. So go watch it. I mean, it's a huge video, and there's 2 volumes of these. Vincenza says, where can I purchase the All Tomorrow's hardback? A lot of places, including the Wilton Square Books website. Nick Nitoski says, would you rather have wings or a tail? Definitely wings. What am I going to do with a tail? Suck it? At least it would be cool to fly. It would be more like a demon in a cool way. The Bjork incident traumatized me when I was 15, says Kuro Minami. Well, it's okay. 62 people watching. Thank you. What a nice night. What did the Catman of Greenlock have in his mouth? Says 52 Shark. Go watch the video. It's on this YouTube channel. Watch it tomorrow. I got so much content, like hundreds of videos, literally. And there's this thing on YouTube, like if a video is old, your mind like rejects it, but that's bad. Some of my oldest videos are the best. Wow, an hour and a half almost. We already had a tail. It didn't work for us, says Ege Sözeri. If people had tails, I bet there would be all sorts of like weird social customs and like traditions about them. One of my favorite old videos is your Alien Nibiru video. Yeah, that's like a story reading, essentially, huh? I might actually properly write that up, remove the alien references, and publish it as a novella sometime in the future. Sung Sang says, gotta go. Have a good day, you all. Thank you. Godspeed and have a lovely day. Sooner or later, this channel is going to reach 100 live viewers, and it's going to be a magical night for me. What is your favorite Beatles song? Says ISL. Unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of the Beatles. I haven't listened to them, and what I've heard doesn't really interest me. Sorry. What do you think of the alien xenomorph design and all the other interpretations that came after? I'm quite fond of the Romulus one. I like the original Giger, big chap creature. I don't think they could ever do it like the first movie ever. Because for the simple reason that nobody had seen this thing. And it wasn't just the creature. I mean, the life cycle was new too. The egg, the facehugger, those were all things that nobody had ever seen in the world of fiction. They did Giger bad. Yes, they kind of removed him from the credits for a number of years. The later ones have chicken legs. You already know what to expect when you see the later ones. My second best design is, I think, the Alien Queen in the James Cameron movies. That's an awesome character. Plus, I like the dog alien in Alien 3 too. This thing, of course, it was also designed by Giger. This character. One of my favorite unrealized designs is actually also by Giger. He had an early concept of the alien with like huge fly or like aviator goggle type eyes. And that was just freaking fantastic. I think this could have made like an incredible monster too. I bought a statue of it, such a masterpiece, the exact one you're showing. All right, then, great minds think alike. You know what I think would have been a great monster? I've said it before. Like, if you had this thing, but if it was as big compared to a human as a grown up is to a child. So you're talking about something that's like 3.5 meters tall, but exactly bipedal and roughly humanoid. So it could like cradle people and like appear to pet them and squeeze them to death slowly or something. That would be a terrible monster to see. The size difference is the most wicked thing, I think. Like, needs to be as big compared to a human being as a grown up is to a baby or a toddler. Because then with that difference, you start going into Freudian territory, which goes well with the alien. What do you think about the Half-Life series, brother? My brother in Christ, I have made, I think, something like a total of 4 hours of videos about the natural history of all the creatures in Half-Life 1 and Half-Life Opposing Force, including deleted creatures. It's one of my biggest videos. Just go CM Kozeman, Half-Life, and watch them. And I can't speak any more about that tonight. Good night. I got inspired to draw, says Vicenza. Well, I'm happy to have inspired you. Ege Sözeri says, your urban expeditions videos really inspired me. Also, I got chased by storekeepers while sneaking into an abandoned place in Istanbul's Karaköy district. Be careful. You should really check out the Half-Life series. They're great. What is your favorite epic poem, says Nick Nitowski. It was actually, wait. It's not an epic poem, but there's this really nice poem. I'm trying to find it. God damn, I need to look it up. I know Child Herald by Lord Byron is a great one. I haven't read many of the national epics like Nibelungen or Kalavela. Was it the Kalavela? Yeah, the Kalavela. Also, I think what's the name? FL. James Elroy Flecker is a great poet too, and has some amazing like Oriental poems that I like. Brecht, I haven't read any. It's not a wait. I don't think I can find it, but I'll try. It was from this encyclopedia of religious quotations. Or maybe not this one. Wait. It was from, I think, the Concise Oxford Dictionary of Poems. It's not an epic poem, but it was really lovely. I don't think I can find it word by word, but it was something to the effect of like, time has a cruel way of granting men the things they wanted yesterday. Like very short but to the point. I'm paraphrasing, but time has a cruel way of granting men the things they wanted yesterday, which is, I think, very potent. And once again, this like concise delivery that almost is like a time release pill that only the English are true masters of. You read it, and 2 days later, oh fuck, that was what it was about. Ooh. Because you want a lot of things, but sometimes maybe it's good you don't get to have them. My personal favorite is Homer's Odyssey and Milton's Paradise Lost. Unfortunately, I haven't read any of those, to be honest. I'm more of like a middle length poem guy, like 4 pages at most. So there's that. It's midnight. Officially, it's Friday. Hope you have a great time at the weekend, everybody, and hope the holidays will treat all of us well. Cheers, says 22 Karat. I think I'm coming close to the end of my battery life, but I still have some coffee and soda and cookies to go. So I won't leave right now, but any more questions or like ideas about what else we can tackle? Reshit says, chat, what's happening? I was looking for a poem, I couldn't find it. I'm tired. Do the coup have AI? I don't know. I think it at that stage there's no difference between technology and the things that use technology. Okay, since the conversation is a bit dry, I'm going to read you one of my favorite poems from James Elroy Flecker. And it's called The War Song of the Saracens. This is like an Iron Maiden song, to be honest. We are they who come faster than fate. We are they who ride early or late. We storm at your ivory gate. Pale kings of sunset, beware. Not on silk nor in summit we lie, nor in curtained solemnity die, among women who chatter and cry, and children who mumble a prayer. But we sleep by the ropes of the camp, and we rise with a shout, and we tramp with the sun or the moon for a lamp, and the spray of wind in our hair. From the lands where the elephants are, to the forts of Mero and Balgar, our steel we have brought, and our star to shine on the ruins of Rum, that is to say, Rome. We have marched from Indus to Spain, and by God we will go there again. We have stood on the shore of the plain where the waters of destiny bloom. A mart of destruction we made at Jalula, where men were afraid, for that was a difficult trade, and the sword was a broker of doom, and the spear was a desert physician who cured not a few of ambition. That's a great, it's a great term. Curing someone of ambition, essentially yeeting them. And drave not a few to perdition with medicine bitter and strong, and the shield was a grief to the fool, and as bright as a desolate pool, and as straight as the rock of Istanbul, when their cavalry thundered along. For the coward was drowned with the brave, when our battle sheared up like a wave, and the dead to the desert we gave and the glory to God in our song. So this is like an idealized fantasy conception of Arab or Muslim raiders around the world, basically. They rode from Indus to Spain, and by God, we will go there again, referring to the, what was it? The Almohads in Spain. What are your thoughts on jelly or amorphous creatures? I love them. My favorite is this one cryptid creature where a man was supposedly diving along a deep sea chasm, So this was like an underwater plane, but there was like a big crack next to it. And he actually saw a dangerous like tiger shark or something. But suddenly from the crack came this like wobbly jelly monster. And it just touched the shark, and the shark just started shivering like baby shark. It just grabbed it and went back down. And I think that was like a incredibly beautiful and scary cryptid scene. Maybe not real, but yeah. What do you think people who identify as horses or dogs and even smell other random people's legs? How much is that is really for real, and how much is that is just someone who is free to do anything as they please? Honestly, I believe it. There's 100% a huge jelly monster with stinging cells down there. Maybe, maybe. I mean, it's such a nice motif, regardless of if it's real or not. Like, there's a dangerous creature, the tiger shark, but there's a creature even more dangerous than that who just one shots it and just like grabs it and almost looks at the diver. Now you be good. If there's a big war in Europe, as you think, who do you think will come out victorious? I think NATO will win that war, but it will be a near Pyrrhic victory because they will lose a lot. It will essentially be like this 10-year-old meat grinder, and it might kill tens of millions of people. So yeah, as Idiki says, no one will really win. But after that, the world economy will become more robust. All the like many social problems would have been solved. So yeah. Hello, Mr. Kazaman. What kind of monster would you want to be? I would like to be the Mothman. Exact. I know what I want. Big eyes, flying, mysterious. That's how I'd like to be. But I wouldn't go around knocking down bridges. Just like appear every once in a while and confound people, you know? 44 people watching. Oh, any more wind down questions? Come on. On the western side, says Arcane Electric, referring to the war or what? I don't know. About the like European war or something like. I mean, let me go on the record that first of all, I would never want such a war to happen. If it happened and I was forced to choose a side at gunpoint, I would choose the side of my home country, Turkey, which is a NATO member. So, yeah. But those being said, those being said, people predict an easy end to Russia, and they really made this mistake in the Ukraine war. They said, "Oh, any day now, Russia is going to collapse. It's going to break apart into lots of different states." But that was just either propaganda or like wishful Cold War thinking or both. Because, like, I mean, Russians are human beings too. They're tenacious, and now the rest of the world cornered them. And I think they're like less likely than ever to break apart. Okay, I changed the comments to all comments, and boy, I did miss a few. 52 Shark says, earlier on you saw this little naked man toy made out of bronze. Was it really for a plaything? It was not like a toy you could play with your hands. It was like a rich man's toy you could put on the fire, and it would just squirt water and like boil water in a funny way, and you would laugh. That's that. What happened to your dancing mantis? She's right over there, but now resting. Arcane Electric says there won't be a war in Europe because nobody has an army except for Turkey and Poland on the western side. That's enough for them. I think they're really like crossing their fingers for like if the war begins this year or 26, they're hoping that Poland will hold them off so that the rest of Europe can rearm. That's why I think Germany and France are like scaring their people that much, saying that this is the last peaceful summer in Europe or stuff, because they want everybody scared so the rearmament can go on. Actually, wait, just recently, yeah, this happened. Okay, wait. I'm just sharing it. NATO's Rutte says Europe must prepare for scale of war our grandparents endured. Like, and this is the chief of NATO. It's not like some like random general in France or something. NATO chief Mark Rutte urged members that Russia might attack in the next 5 years. He told people to shift to a wartime mindset. Basically, he's saying you must shift your economy to war footing. So they're scared of like a combined war where China supports Russia and Russia attacks Europe, and it will be, I mean, these are very, very scary words. A scale of war our grandparents endured. It's, my God. Also, on like war news, also there's like a dark subconscious thing about this, and I have to say it. Like, there's a saying, everybody secretly wants the world to end. All of us, myself included, we are faced with financial uncertainty. Like, the future is kind of bleak, and like life is actually very stressful. So you kind of wish, like, oh, I wish there was some big shit that, just took it all away. And I think that's a subconscious appeal to many of these like war scare stories. This really makes me scared for my family, says 52 Sharks. Look, Arcane Electric says Mark Rutte is a salesman for American weapons companies. True, true. And his pitch worked because, wait, there was just like Very recently, there was this development. No, that's long story short. There was this news story about Germany planning a $1 billion armament spending bill, which was the biggest ever in a long time. And they also introduced a conscription order. So there looks like they're rearming. How much stock does Mark Rutte own in Lockheed, Boeing, and General Dynamics? Good question. Look, I also think that in a dark way, these things are safe news because as long as the dog barks, he doesn't bite, you know? So, like, maybe they're just using the fear of war to drive up weapons production, which will reinvigorate the economy. And maybe that will be enough to like get Europe out of this economical hole they've dug in themselves into. Idiki says, I think America was able to inhibit the war in Ukraine by taking it into NATO. There's something going on we don't know yet. True, true. I think ever since 2020, you could say that there's something going on we don't know yet. They're using psychic warfare to harvest our loosh. And also, hello, says Louis J. I mean, that's a nice comment. True. I mean, look, according to some sources, young people are hooking up or like catching on or whatever you call them, finding partners in numbers that are way less than previous generations. And many of that is due to economic uncertainty. You can't really trust anyone. Plus, there's the whole like digital alienation and atomization thing. But yeah, isn't that like a case of economic uncertainty stealing people's mojo in a way? All right. Well, I hope peace will prevail in the new year and beyond. Also, when disaster strikes, there's always this movie, which is always my comfort movie. Piano Piano Bacaksız. Let's see if we can watch it. Okay, we can. Wait. Do you think after such a war we would behave more in a unified? I think the world is more unified than ever before. The question is whether individuals will have as much economic freedom as they used to like 10 years ago, 20 years ago. If people can travel as freely as they used to. And I don't know the answers to that. Like, certainly, like, even touristic travel has become way more restricted. But, anyways, let me share you my comfort movie. Piano Piano Bacaksız. This is set in the dark years of Second World War. This kid and a lot of other people are sharing this big giant mansion that was left over from the Ottoman Empire. But now every room has a different family living in them, and this kid is one of them. Going outside this very nice and cozy, dreamy, cozy, magical realism kind of. There's a leak. Ooh, who's talking? Oh no. Look, the fountain was built, I don't know, maybe 150 years ago. Once this was like the splendorous residence of a pasha. Now a kid's peeing in the garden. There's this eccentric guy that lives in one of the friends with him. Dream is to run away to Italy. And this is just
İnsanın yoksulu, üstelik çocuksa benim gibi barıştan yanadır. Yani umuttan yana. Kerim dayı sadece benim değil, evimizin bütün insanların umuduydu.
So there's this like eccentric intellectual that lives in the house and wants to run off to Italy, and the kid says like he was a beacon of hope for everybody who lived in the house with us. Look, this like palatial mansion, now it's, and imagine something like that happening, I don't know, in the US, where they're building all these Mac mansions, like maybe in 80 years, I don't know, maybe each Mac mansion, actually, fuck those houses because they're all going to burn down in 80 years. But yeah, just imagine like the splendors from one age turning into way more humble residences in the next one. But life has a way of going on. Thomas Strimpel says, what are we watching? We are watching Piano Piano Bacaksız, one of my comfort movies, which is almost like a Miyazaki animation. As they're playing soccer or like they're barefoot.
Ona 3 defa para verdim.
Kim bilir ne yapmıştır?
Baba sen amcama eşi ulaşık dedin.
Dedim.
Onun babası senin baban değil mi?
This is the father of the kid, and he's like a more kind of like rough around the edges character. He says, you called my uncle the son of a donkey. And the dad says, oh, so what? Well, aren't you and him brothers? And then the dad's like, haha, you wise, you monkey.
Şunu alsana.
Now he's going to enjoy his rakı.
Kamil'e şu elmayı versene.
And they're one apple, so they're going to have that.
Öğlen rakı mı içeceğim?
3 gün müdüriyette müteferrikadaydım. Daha dün akşam çıktım.
Ama eve bugün geliyorsun.
Ama param yoktu, ben de işe gittim.
Ayol sen kumarcılığa iş mi diyorsun? Duyan da bir işin var sanır.
So the dad is like kind of down and out. He goes away for some nights gambling, and they have like 2 apples and 1 bottle of rakı. The whole family lives in these like vacant rooms, basically.
Kumarcı hastaneye burası mı?
Ulan ayı, o ne biçim laf ulan?
Ne bileyim abi, bahçede sordu bana dediler.
Peki, şeytan cezanı versin. Bas git.
This guy says, is this the house of Hassan the gambler? So he says, don't call me that in front of my family, and kicks him out.
Kamil'e Herif'i dövecektim ama daha dün sabah bana müdüriyette atılan falaka aklıma gelince vazgeçtim.
Baba artık cumhuriyet kuruldu. Hala falaka atıyorlar mı insana?
Değişen pek bir şey yok oğlum. O zamanlar falakayı yerken padişahım çok yaşa diye bağırtırlardı. Biz şimdi sadece bağırıyoruz.
Ne o da
So the man brought in some, I don't know, linen or whatever.
ortasında duran kaybana?
Oğluma kuş tüyü yatak aldım.
Kuş tüyü yatak alıncaya kadar ayağına pabuç alsaydın çocuğun.
So he says, "What's this?" And he says, "I was gambling at night, and I won a goose feather bed for our son." But the woman is angry, and she says, "Like, oh, you should have gotten him some actual shoes before a bed." So, like,
Tepeme attırma benim.
don't
Dayak
get
mı istiyorsun
mad.
sen? Ben o yatağı kumarda kazandım. Niye yani? Çocuk pabucuna kumar oynayan var mı diye mi sorayım etrafa?
Pis herif. Şeytan beni sana verenlerin cezasını versin. İstemiyorum. Ben oğlumu kumarda kazanmış yatakta yatırmam. Onu zaten...
So she goes ballistic. She says, "My son isn't gonna sleep in like this dirty bed you won in some stupid gambling tournament, whatever."
Yatağı var.
Ulan senin yatağının da, senin de, seni alanın da, kumarının da.
So he goes crazy. It's like, God damn, this makes me cry almost. They're having a terrible moment. Kid is, woman is like, my life is fucked. I think like if the kid wasn't playing snow, the man would have like knifed the woman.
Allah tanrım.
So it's this whole that goes on like this for like an hour. There's many scenes like this. It's really something. You can actually get automatic translation, so there's no excuse. Yeah, there's no excuse not to watch this anymore. It's on YouTube. The whole movie is on YouTube. It's called Piano Bacaksız. Dad, wake up. Ali Abi's burning. What's happened to Ali Abi? Look, this is the house. It used to be like a grand mansion, but now every room is a house. And every house, there's a family with troubles of their own.
Senayi Bey! Senayi Bey! Ulan vallahi yanıyor be! Hey!
There's a fire?
Hamile! Feriha! Ey ahali!
Ay ne oldu? Canım ne yaptın? Canım. Ne yaptın?
I don't know what the hell happened.
Hani Münevver hayret. İnanamıyorum. Hala kötü bir laf etmiyor ayol. Öf.
Neyse zamanında yetişmişiz hiç olmazsa.
Maybe this guy was suicidal.
Feriha, Hitler geliyor. Ya beni de askere alırlarsa?
Geçti canım. Geçti tatlım.
Oh, he says, Farah, Hitler is coming. What if I'm drafted? So they're always scared of getting drafted.
Sigarayla yanmış yatak.
He fell asleep with a cigarette in his hands, and no, he didn't try to kill himself. He was just depressed, and he was smoking in bed and fell asleep. And yeah, that sort of like, go watch this is like a great date movie too. Some scenes in it like actually make me cry. So I'm like, it's like a risky view for me. But yeah, our whole lives are gonna be like this fucking kid's life now, in the shadow of like great events we can't control and great poverty we can't do anything about. I think this guy really does get drafted at the end.
Aslan gibi olmuşsun Senayi kardeş.
Bu halinle askerler seni selam durur mu Senay abi?
Dururlar herhalde. Bilmem
He either joins the Navy or the Merchant Marine. I don't know.
ki.
Durmaz olur mu ya? Biz askerde bu elbisenin karşısında tir tir titrer.
Şimdilik kışlada tutacaklarmış. Sonrası belli değil. Savaş bitene kadar tutarlar herhalde.
So he gets drafted and he goes off, but he's not scared anymore. So it's like he's leaving. When he leaves, it's all a
Senay abi.
Hadi sen de.
anyways. That's how they live. Like in one room, everybody sleeps on the ground. I'm scared of getting drafted, says Luis. Bleat says, yo. So, anyways, this is that movie. It's a really lovely film. Go watch it. I've shown you enough. On that note, it's been 2 hours. I had a great time. But I think now our time must come to an end. The record viewership too, 67 people. God damn. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much. Louis J says, Mr. Koseman, I've become so anxious about global events around 2023 that I developed lots of compulsive tics. One instance of which led to oh my God, you were severely injured by it, huh? I don't know what happened, but look, don't be scared. We're all on the same boat. In the worst case, all 67 of us can live in a great mansion somewhere with our pets and families and shit, and have a piano bacaksız experience. In a way, maybe this live stream is that great mansion. I'm going to do a ritual on the 21st to try and get rid of them. Can you bless the endeavor? You have my blessings, but also don't worry. I don't think they're going to draft you particularly. And if there is a big war, we won't even know what shape it takes. It won't be like the Second World War. So there's not going to be like cities being leveled from the air or something. Look, worst case, you and your family will have to get in the car and drive to another city, live with your relatives and stuff. But you won't die. It won't kill you. Might even be an adventure. Even Mouse says hi. Good to see you again, Cevdet, says Arcane Electric. Maybe the next war will be more digital, says. Yeah, but the digital is just groundwork for the kinetic. Actually, the wars which took place in the last few decades, Iraq, Syria, Gaza, Ukraine, they are like very deadly. I think close to 1 million people died in the Iraq wars. 200,000 or more in the Afghan conflict. In the Syrian war, maybe once again close to 1 million dead. These are huge numbers. Close to 1 million dead and tens of millions displaced. Pilav Boy says, my 4-year relationship ended today. I feel miserable. We all have our problems. I'm really sorry. And yeah, it's really tough. I don't know what to say. Life has a way of going on. Arcane Electric says, Louis J, resist the draft at all costs. Do not allow your government to send you to fight wars for the billionaire class. Let them send their own kids and grandkids to war for a change. Ivan Maus says isopods. Peace, y'all, peace. Fuck the depraved elites, says Louis J. Look, it's not gonna happen tomorrow. We don't even know what's gonna happen. Don't worry. Zehra Kuyu says, have you seen Pluribus yet? I haven't seen it. To be honest, the only sci-fi thing I'm planning to see in the short term is the new Avatar movie. I'm really excited for that. But yeah, no Pluribus. Sorry. Pilav Boy says, I tried to run from the military draft. Eventually, they caught me. I had to pay $6,000 to skip military. Yeah, this is a thing that happens in Turkey. Turkey never abolished the military draft, so it's a part of our national identity. I have nightmares about being drafted into a war against my will, sent to the front with no... It won't happen. Did you do it too, Mr. Kösemen? I got a military exemption because of my flexible joints. I mean, I can twist my arms, and I have scoliosis and hypermobility and fallen arches, flat feet, so didn't go. I used the right of medical exemption, which was made available to me by the graceful and magnanimous regulations of the Turkish military. Quick, everyone, break your fingers. Just relax. Just relax, don't worry. Louis J., which country were you a citizen of, if you might says? If you might indulge me. Okay, you're in the UK. The UK is not gonna, I think, be as directly involved, so don't worry. Plus, your passport, you can travel to Canada, Australia, you can run away anywhere you like. Like us poor sods in Turkey, our passport isn't really good in any developed nation. Like, I'm the author of All Tomorrows. I have an American book launch coming, okay? I can't travel there because they won't even give me a tourist visa. Why? I'm born in the wrong country. I wish I was in the UK and getting drafted. I would have more social mobility than a person in Turkey with like world-class education and like, I don't know, like a pretty good life. It's all relative and all a matter of perspective. Ivan Mal says Kandiru. Okay. Your voice is so soothing, it calms the mind. Well, thank you. You know who my biggest inspiration is in voice acting is Jeremy Irons. He's got a purring and snarling voice. I know that your powers of retention are as wet as a warthog's backside. The future is littered with prizes. Pilav Boy says, contemplating Turkey's geopolitical destiny. I wish we could have had a better government back in 2002. Maybe we could get into the EU. Look, remember, It would never happen. It would never happen. You could elect me as the president, you as the foreign minister. You could elect Ilber Ortaylı for president. For context, he's like a really educated, enlightened man. You could elect Orhan Pamuk as the culture minister. Doesn't make a fucking difference. You know why? Because of the Europeans. Now, apologies to all Europeans among you, but they will, and they never have accepted Turkey as a member. It was always like a carrot dangled in front of you. Everybody knew that. The best Turkey could be would be Europe's China, as China was to the United States. Make our products, buy our trash, stay the fuck out. And I'm sorry, but like, once again, there are many European viewers here. I love you all, don't get me wrong. But if you travel to Europe, everybody says, the French are snobbish, or like, the Italians are lazy. Well, you know who the worst offender is? I think in Germany, you see the worst European stereotypes realized. And they're every bit as xenophobic. It doesn't matter how many Netflix movies you watched or how good your English is. They're going to say, no, you are not us. So I'm sorry. No government, no Turkish government can get in the EU because of the EU. I mean, Turkey is, in every metric, Turkey was far more advanced than all the other countries they took in, Bulgaria, Romania. My voice acting is and inspiration is Andy Serkis. I can do a pretty spot on inspiration of Oğlum, says Ivan Mouse. And like, I'm not hateful against Europeans or Germans for this. It's just that, like, it's just the way things are. I need to go. It was a great stream. Yeah, it's almost 1 a.m. I need to go too. Fuck. But this was a great stream. I really enjoyed talking with you all. Hello, everyone. I'm hearing everyone is going through it today. I'm wishing everybody luck. Same here. It's true. In Germany, many have a very narrow definition of being German. Thank you for the treat, says Louis J. Reminds me of how xenophobic they're in Japan. I understand where it comes to. Like, I had this thing happen to me in Germany. Okay, I don't look very Turkish or Middle Eastern. I'm white. You know, I'm Jewish. I was in Dresden. I sit down at a cafe, and I got my watercolors with me. Okay, a little water, just this watercolor set actually. So I had like a mug of tea. I had my also like portable bottle of water. I finished my tea. I poured some water in the cup, and I'm just like watercoloring. This asshole comes out of the woodwork saying like, "Nine, it's dangerous for the cutlery or whatever." I said, "Look, it's watercolor. I even lick it." No, we can't allow it. Okay, I said, all right, then bring me like a disposable glass or like a paper cup, you know, and he just snatches the cup away. This like this Ordnung must sign motherfucker. He snatches the cup away. I'll bring you something. Wait, and he brings me a plastic dog bowl with the word Hund written on it. With the word like dog written on it. We don't do that in Germany with you. No, this was like classic racism. Come on. So I was like, okay. So if it's toxic for the people, I guess your dog is somehow immune to my toxic Jewish watercolors or what? I don't know. Like, but I was very laid back. I had this actually. This is marbling spray, which is just ethanol. So I sprayed it on the thing, the dog ball, and wiped off the text Hund. And the guy saw it. He saw me like erasing the text, and he had an apoplexy. This happens. I've noticed it in among German people. Sorry, that if they see you break the rules or like outsmart them, they go like. Then, how did he know you're Turkish? I don't think he knew I was Turkish. He knew I wasn't one of them though, and that was enough for him. But anyways, when this happens, I always love like snubbing their noses in it, like reveling in it. Like I also had like I was like running a red light, and one of the women was having an apoplexy, and so I was like I stopped and I did this full eye contact, walk that way. I used to be called an Nazi by my classmate in secondary school because of my German heritage, says Evan Maus. Oh no, come on. Don't be like that. I'm glad I never told them about my great grandmother from Hong Kong. No, don't. It's everybody except for them is a Schweinhund, said Zara. Well, for some people, okay. Provincial Germans might be very similar to Americans in the Deep South. No, I mean, maybe they're like ethnically German, but I'm trying to find out like the best commentary about this shit, which was made by Ai Weiwei, the famous Chinese artist. And he said, this. Wait. Ai Weiwei, the famous Chinese artist, said the following about present day German culture, which I find very valuable. A society governed by regulations, yet lacking individual moral judgment, is more dangerous than with none at all. A society that values obedience without questioning authority is destined to become corrupt and scare its citizens with war. A society that admits to error but refuses to reflect on that error's origins possesses a mind as stubborn as granite. Here at a deserted street, people stop beautifully at a red light. This, I once thought, is the mark of a highly evolved society. But he changed his mind. When I was in Switzerland, the German part, they snitched me to the police because I wasn't wearing a seat belt at the back seat. They charged me 250 euros. I was come on. Look, I don't think, I don't know, like I really we shouldn't turn this into a hate channel, but like this is something that exists. Anyways, forget it. They're already living in hell. Fuck that. Yeah, they're already living in a hell of their own making. Who the heck cares? The red traffic light apoplexy thing is so true. Yeah. Do it. Spite them. Did I send you the photos with me and the Echidna says even? Maybe. What was the least prejudiced country you've been to? I don't think you can find a country without prejudices. I would say maybe the United States, to be honest. UK being a close second, if you can believe it. Incredible how friendly the people are. America and the UK. In Turkey, they have like they will smile at you. They're hospitable, but everybody knows behind your back they snicker and talk. And there's also lots of cases where like taxi cab riders fleece people and stuff like that. Will you visit North Korea? If I could, I would. But like in my travels, like this was like I'm not trying to like bash Germans or bash Germany. That they got lots of nice stuff. Like the supermarkets are good, the streets are clean, and the state actually sets boundaries on private power, on what it can do to people. I think that's a good thing about Germany. But like before I was able to travel outside of Turkey, you have these concepts of like, for example, you think like, the French are snobs or the British are petty and manipulative, but none of that are true. Like the French people are also very cool too. The French have this like performative, like mocking way to like maybe to like lock horns with you if you're not from there. But if you meet them, they'll back down, and then the mask drops. And they're usually very laid back and very cool. Same with the UK. I mean, in Turkey, the common trope includes like the scheming Englishman. No, actually, everybody I dealt with in England, my own publisher got them very solid, straight to the point people. But both of these stereotypes I've seen in among Germans. So that was a bad surprise. That was a bad surprise. Have you ever been to Tunisia, says Halil Hayan Kifra? No, I would love to. What do you think about Californias? There's more than one? Upper California. The French codify the language. Their dictionary doesn't evolve. The Turkish government does that too. There's a Turkish language association. I think those associations are good. The language evolves, but it's good to have like a government paid organization that keeps tracks of words and shit. What do you think about Californians? They're really nice people. I've actually driven like all the way from the far northern part of California to San Francisco, stayed in many small towns. People are great. In San Francisco, the middle class is abominable. And middle class and above, they're really dumb. And they have this like fake positivity, which actually clouds their original intentions. So they're a bit obscure. The city dwelling California upper middle class, I'm not a fan. Did you have the same impression about the Turkish German Gastarbeiters? Or just, well, look, these negative impressions I had mostly from native Germans, unfortunately. But the Turks who live in Germany, they're also like a bunch, very insular. They did not meet this prejudice gracefully, let us say. But there are lots of like great native German people, like Joshua Knuppe is a personal friend, and a lot of like Turkish German people too. Like everything negative I'm saying is based on obviously a minority of the population. The Turks in Germany are unfortunately the worst Turks in the world. Maybe some truth to that on some of them, yes. Thoughts on the Dutch? The Dutch are like imagine like an evolutionary situation where like, you know, the marsupials have the marsupial lion or like the marsupial mole. The Dutch are like a European way to evolve an English gentleman, in that they are very world savvy with in their relationships. They're very humane. They are considerate of arts and culture in a way that approaches the British. So they're good. They're cool. What are we talking about? We're just European stereotypes and stuff. Can you do an evil face? Like this? I don't know. I don't know. Yes, this is the. Any more of this, I will be banned for anti-Semitism. The Netherlands' most far-right figure is half Indonesian. Is short answer for Dutch people. True. But be careful. In the following decades, you're going to see lots of hard right people like Nick Fuentes, who is half Mexican. Origins don't matter. Like the idea to like crush those who are not like you It's a pretty virulent one. Okay. Well, this was a great night, everybody. Thank you for your time. I had a lovely 2.5 hours. Do you like chickens? Yeah, I like chickens. I'm curious about your thoughts on zoos. They're necessary evil, but I think like the really accredited large zoos are like really good and beneficial institutions. Anyways, that was that. If you're watching on the replay, if you're on the replay gang on YouTube, please say, I watched it all the way. Say, I watched it all the way. I watched it all the way. So I know who's watched it all the way. If you want to donate to me, buy me a soda, buy me a coffee. I have a buy me a coffee link. So go there. Go to the comments and see the pinned comments on how to purchase all tomorrows. And as always, wherever you are, have a lovely, lovely day. Can I buy you a pizza? Go to buymeacoffee.com/cmkosemen. The links are below. And buy me 2 coffees. That's like a pizza. All right. Lots of love. And have a great time. Remember, life is always a bit shitty, but as long as it's not over, you don't need to worry about it. Good night and lots of love. Bye. Oh, yeah, bye.